The PlayStation Vita was a failure. We're using was because, for all intents and purposes, it is a dead system. That's thanks to terrible support from its creators, who announced that they would be ceasing all production of the handheld in 2019 after quietly distancing themselves from it over the years. The downfall of the Vita has as much to do with Sony's reluctance to push it as hard as they should have as anything else. However, and this might come as a surprise to you, but now is probably the best time to pick up a PlayStation Vita. It's shifted enough units to ensure that there will always be plenty of options on eBay for well under $100, as well as the fact that the best PlayStation Vita games might already be sat in your library waiting for you thanks to Crossbuy, a program that allows you to download a game across multiple Sony platforms for one price. If you've been adding PlayStation Plus games to your library over the years, you may be surprised at just how many Vita games are waiting for you. So, if you've ever been curious about Sony's forgotten child or just want to freshen up your handheld library, here are the best PlayStation Vita games you should check out, ranging from throwback indies to the JRPG that will consume everything within your life. Please write F in the comments below to pay respect to what could have been. Number 10. Hotline Miami. Do you like hurting people while straining one out? Then allow us to introduce you to Hotline Miami, an effortlessly stylish top-down shooter that rewards patience because, let's be real here, it's an absolute son of a bitch in terms of difficulty thanks to its one-hit kill mechanics and fast-as-hell pace. Like many indie games on this list of the best PS Vita games, Hotline Miami is irresistible because it's not only pick up and play, but also impossible to put down once you get going, bolstered by a synthwave soundtrack that is the stuff of legend and a gloriously 80s aesthetic. This is a one-hit murder puzzler rhythmer, no, really, that should be ticked off your list. The second game is also worth checking out, but they will never make a third game, no matter how much you ask. Sorry. Number 9. Killzone Mercenary. Unfairly overlooked by critics at launch for not moving the dial enough, Killzone Mercenary may lack the bombast of its PlayStation 3 brethren, but it's quite easily the best FPS game on the Vita. The controls transfer well to the small screen and it makes inventive uses of the handheld's gimmicks to make something that feels as exciting as playing a shooter on your TV. The story is an oddity in the Killzone timeline, pitting you as a mercenary during key moments of the conflict with the Helghast. Killzone Mercenary also has great multiplayer, and you will surprisingly still be able to find some, admittedly half-empty, matches this far down the line. The sound of a confirmed kill is also worth the price of admission, that weird little jingle feeling as rewarding as opening a chest in Zelda. I just realised I'm being conditioned to be a killer, and I'm weirdly fine with that. Number 8. Gravity Rush. Here's another worthwhile game on the Vita that didn't find the audience it deserved, so much so that its sequel actually went on to become a PS4 exclusive. It's a shame because Gravity Rush arguably suits the Vita more than its bigger and more successful brother, allowing you to mess with gravity and kick some ass from the palm of your hand. An out-and-out wacky time, Gravity Rush sees you playing as a young girl aided by a cat made of galaxies, bear with us here, to stop the destruction of a mysterious world. Thanks to its gorgeous cell shading and unique gravity-shifting mechanics, Gravity Rush really deserved to shift more copies than it did as a game that's closely associated with the underrated nature of the Vita as a whole. Weird games like this deserve more love. While we're here, go play Gravity Rush 2, you fools! Number 7. Tearaway. Another innovative game that had to leave its home to find players the Vita couldn't provide. Tearaway is a charming platformer from the pioneers of the Little Big Planet franchise. Media Molecule certainly know how to create gorgeous and cute games with an undeniable charm, and Tearaway certainly fits that bill. Just like their marquee franchise, Media Molecule reward the player for their experimentation and creativity in Tearaway, making the game feel like a toy box just begging to be played with. Tearaway even makes the touchscreen feel more than a gimmick, asking players to peel back its paper world and dive right in. Unfolded on PS4 is a good way to experience the game, though Tearaway is simply at home on the Vita. Like so many other one-time Vita exclusives, the audience just wasn't there. But we were there. We were there. Number 6. Spelunky. An indisputable indie classic, Spelunky is a lo-fi whale of a time that feels custom-made for the Vita. Many modern games owe a debt to Spelunky, the work of mainly one guy, for reinvigorating and redefining the platformer by introducing old-school elements to a new-school experience, which include randomized levels and, eggplants. Spelunky just keeps on giving, offering new challenges and quirks that you weren't previously aware of the deeper into it you go. That's apt, because you spend your time in the game travelling deep underground on the hunt for treasure and crying with shameful remorse when you attack a shopkeeper and find that the rest of your game is utterly ruined. Seriously, don't mess with them, it's very, very hard being a small business. 5. Darkest Dungeon. Ever found RPGs stressful? That you aren't quite powerful enough to beat a boss, or that you don't have the items you need? You should probably approach Darkest Dungeon with some caution then, as it puts the end in friendship with alarming regularity, ridding you of your favourite party members over and over again. Anyone who's played XCOM will recognise the jarring permadeath in Darkest Dungeon, but when paired with the game's strict insanity mechanics, the task becomes even greater. Allow one of your party members to descend too deeply into darkness and they will be lost, which makes every action and tough decision in Darkest Dungeon feel far weightier. Is glory worth death? I don't know, but why not have a personal crisis with your Vita? It's what Sony did. Number 4. Uncharted Golden Abyss. While it's true that Golden Abyss may try to use too many of the Vita's unique features all at once, the fact remains the same that it's the perfect pocket-sized adventure for Nathan Drake. It only minimally downsizes the scale of the Uncharted console adventures to create something that feels like a technical marvel. A lot of simple joy can be had from drawing the destination for Drake as he's climbing or swiping to leap across a gap. The controls are also tight and the combat is just as fun as its big appears. The story is also great, even if it takes a little while to really gel with it not featuring all of the series' favourites straight away. Do not overlook this underrated gem in the franchise, but also don't forget to do your finger exercises for all the swiping. Sheesh. Number 3. Velocity 2X. An acclaimed but not wildly commercially successful hybrid of ship-based gameplay and side-scrolling, Velocity 2X might actually be best first discovered on the Vita. It's a game that you constantly dip in and out of, the experience constantly refreshing thanks to its inventive mechanics that never allow you to rest on one aspect of it for too long. The origins of Velocity 2X actually run deep in the PlayStation brand with the PlayStation Mini, remember those, game by the name of Velocity. Since then, Future Lab have updated and refined the experience until they arrived at 2X, which is one of the smoothest and most downright beautiful games you're ever likely to play on a handheld. Check your PlayStation Store purchases on the Vita. It might have sneaked its way in there at some point, like it did for us. It's also a speedrunner's dream, so if you need to achieve something while you take a dump, load a level and get sliding, in more ways than one. At number 2, Rogue Legacy. Rogue Legacy is the epitome of portable gaming, an insanely addictive side-scroller that is as hard to put down as it is irreverent. You play as a knight storming a mysterious castle housing plenty of bad things for you to slay, and then you die. On your next turn, you play as a descendant of your previous character who has their own powers and drawbacks. It's one of the best Vita games at making you love to hate it. In a good way, of course. This constantly maintains a feeling of freshness to Rogue Legacy so that even if you're entering the castle for the 500th time, and you probably will, the wonders that await you never get any less intriguing. It's an understated and underrated gem that will have you utterly hooked even when the cards are against you. There's a sequel coming out at some point, although a Vita port is looking pretty unlikely. And at number 1, it's Persona 4 Golden, the aforementioned JRPG Vita game that will completely consume your being. Persona 4 Golden isn't something that you can play. You have to open it up and climb right inside, nuzzling in its weirdness and maybe not bathing for a while. When a body turns up in an otherwise quiet town, you must discover the truth by diving into televisions and taking on enemies with your high school friends. Weird. You're damn right it's weird, and it's all the better for it. Persona is a franchise that's all about the creeping slow burn. You go from being vaguely interested in its story and its characters, and then suddenly you're captivated and you can't shake it. Games like Persona 4 were made for duvet days. There's at least 100 hours of content here in a game that grows the more you play it, so bear with its methodical pacing at the beginning and you'll be trying to climb inside your own TV before you even realise what's happening. And there you have it, folks, that's our top 10 list of the best PlayStation Vita games that ever were. So did you agree, did you disagree? Please let us know in the comments down below. We always love to hear your thoughts. And please consider following us on the YouTube channel by hitting that subscribe button, smash the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and please, if you feel so inclined, give us a teeny weeny tiny little follow on the social medias on screen now. It helps the nest grow, and we always want more vultures a-doing a pecking, a-doing a laying of eggs. Do vultures lay eggs? They probably lay eggs. That's one for the workout until the next time, but until then, caw-caw.